everybody, and welcome to my book nook. So today I wanted to discuss my fall favorites. This is going to be a little bit of a different video because I'm going to discuss some books, some decor, some clothing items. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So first, let's discuss my favorite fall recipes. I am a very big baker. I've been baking all my life basically, and I have developed a couple recipes that are perfect for fall. They kind of reach that perfect time between like fall and Christmas. A lot of these can play around like Thanksgiving time too if you want to cook anything for Thanksgiving. I'll put all recipes down below, but the first one I wanted to talk about is my sticky toffee pudding. I feel like this one is very good for both Christmas and autumn. It has dates, it has caramel, it has that brown butter like taste to it. It is amazing. It's really easy. I have messed it up like a couple times throughout my life, but it's nothing too crazy. You just have to make your own caramel, but that's pretty much the toughest part of it all. It is so seasonal and so many like spices, but also like it's not like super spicy. Like it doesn't like come like too pumpkin-esque. It's mostly about the dates and the brown butter flavor that comes out of it. It's absolutely delicious. I'll link it down below. It's one of my favorites to make every single season. The next thing that I want to talk about is a new favorite. So this is the first year I've made a pumpkin roll. My husband was talking about getting a pumpkin roll forever, and I was like, why do you want this? It sounds complicated and not that good. And then I made it, and I actually thought it was the easiest recipes I made in a really long time. It looks complicated because of the swirl, but it honestly, if you follow instructions, and I'm gonna put the recipe down below, it is super easy. You just have to make sure to like fold it and then wait a while and then fill it and then fold it again, and then it'll make your life super easy, and you'll have this like striking dessert that everybody will be asking you like how you made it, and it'll look like you spent like hours making it, when in reality it takes like 45 minutes max. It's a perfect dessert for fall. I really recommend it for like parties and just like taking it out. I've also heard that you can fry it or like pan fry it, and it's really good as well, so I will definitely try that with the remainder that I have from last week. Okay, the next one is also an original recipe that I tried last year. I kind of like meshed a couple different things. So it's a cranberry pie. So it comes off like a lemon pie, like a key lime pie, but instead of like key limes, you use cranberries. So I made it last year for Thanksgiving, and it was like so striking because it has that like purple color, and it really fulfills that thing that you need after a very heavy Thanksgiving meal. You need some tartness, you need some freshness, you kind of like are tired of all those fatty things, you need something to cut through all of them, and this is a perfect recipe. It's basically a key lime pie, but instead of key lime you use cranberries, and that makes all the difference. It'll make it like super seasonal. It's super striking because it has like that deep purple color. Everybody will be asking you for the recipe. It's absolutely amazing. One of my favorite recipes to make. I was gonna make it again this year, but then I kind of decided against it because I wanted to make something different, and what I'm gonna make is my next favorite. So yeah, my next favorite is a Pavlova. Pavlovas are what we call in Spanish espumillas, or like a meringue that you cook in the oven. They're pretty hard to make, I'm not gonna lie to you. It is kind of like a higher difficulty when it comes to baking because you have to like make them in the oven, and then make sure to like cook them like low and slow for a long time, and then like leave them in the oven with the oven door open like partially in order for them to cool. Otherwise they'll collapse. But if you made anything like a macaron before or anything like that type of thing, if you know how to make a meringue that has like stiff peaks, you should be golden. You should be able to do this really easily. So yeah, so the thing about Pavlova is that you can fill it up with whatever you want. I made some summer Pavlovas earlier this year. I'm gonna put a picture right here. I filled them with passion fruit curd and then top them with mango for our summer vacation, and they were like a huge hit. But for this year, I want to make them for Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna make a Thanksgiving Pavlova. I am kind of like dabbling in between two things, but I think I'm gonna settle with cranberry Pavlovas, which are gonna be cranberry curd instead of a Pavlova, topped with some like seasonal like fruit toppings. I haven't decided where I want to do like candy pecans, because that also speaks very like seasonal to me, or if I want to go like more tart and do some apples or something like pumpkinish. I haven't truly decided the recipe, but I'm gonna put the recipe down below, and I recommend you to try Pavlovas. I have brought them to a couple different parties, and everybody's always like, they think it's so complicated and it's so difficult to make, and even though it is a little bit more difficult than the normal stuff I bake, it is absolutely a showstopper, and I love them to my heart's desire. And I cannot wait to make it this year. I'm definitely gonna vlog my Thanksgiving Pavlova this year, so I'll bring you in my adventure of trying to make that, because I want to make it like a basket, like a harvest basket. It's like a whole visual aspect to it that I have in my head, but now I just have to like make it. Okay, so now let's start with some reads. So I'm gonna divide this into two sections: books that I have previously read that I want to recommend to you, and books that I haven't read that I want to read this year. So let's start with the books that I have personally already read and I want to recommend to you. Okay, so the first book that I want to recommend to you is Legends and Lattes. So yeah, it follows the adventures of Viv, who's an orc. She is kind of like tired. She was a mercenary for many years, and she kind of wants to settle down and open a cafe. But the problem is, in this world, nobody knows what a coffee shop is, so she kind of has to start from scratch. And it does have a dilemma in it, because there's people trying to stop her from having a cafe. There's other mercenaries in the area that want to extort her for money. So it does have some plot, but it's mostly about her just starting the cafe and meeting all these lovely people that want to help her out, being in this very cozy town, and just like exploring cooking and baking, which again is something that I absolutely love. So this book is very good, and it is very popular, so I do want to recommend you something slightly less popular. So if you want something that feels very similar but is slightly less popular, you can read Can't Spell Treason Without T. So this one is a book that I read earlier this year, and it's very similar to Legends and Lattes, whereas there's two women. One of them is like the head guard for a queen that's kind of like an evil queen, and the other woman, she is kind of like a magician, but she's the most important magician in the land. She's very much a chosen one, and they're both tired of having a very high stress life, and they kind of just want to escape and build like a little coffee shop that's like also like a tea shop that is also a bookstore, that's also a plant shop, which is everybody's dream. So they kind of want to run away from it, but of course their problems are still gonna follow them, but now they have each other to solve their problems together. This one is actually significantly more plot forward than Legends and Lattes. So if your problem with Legends and Lattes was that it was not plot forward enough, I definitely recommend this one, because you have like dragons, you have a lot more action, you have a lot more going on, and it's still super cozy. You still get like the found family, the cozy town, and all those stuff. So yeah, I really like it. This one was a book that was originally indie published, but now is getting a traditional publishing. And the next book that I want to recommend to you is A Song for the Wild Belt. This one is the second book in the series, The Prayer for the Crown Shy. They're both by Becky Chamber, and they're very short books about this robot who is a monk that lives in a world where we solved all our problems. We live in this world where it's like kind of an utopia. Everybody gets what they want, but somehow this monk, even though he lives in a perfect world, still lacks purpose, is still looking for what he wants in his life. And because of that, he goes into the wilderness to try to like find himself. But instead, what he finds is this robot who has been there for hundreds of years, since the robots once went into the wilderness and never came back, leaving the humans without robots. And because of that, he's the first human who has ever encountered a robot in a really long time. And you would think that it would be like very dramatic and very plot forward, but actually it ends up just being a series of conversations between the robot and the monk about what it means to be happy, what it means to be alive, what it means to be human, what is your purpose. And it's all like very like cozy. It is like, he also is like a monk that like has a tea cart, so he goes around the wilderness distributing tea to this society. Super cozy. I do think this brings very much fall vibes. There's even like parts in this book where they're going through when the leaves are changing, and it's kind of like evocative, and like it promotes that like feeling in your brain that you're in fall. I absolutely love both of these books. They're very short and very easy to read, and they made me cry, which is very impressive for a book that's barely 100 pages. The next books that I want to recommend is the Truly Devious series. Here I'm holding the last book in the series, The Hand on the Wall. These are like they're YA books following Stevie. Stevie is obsessed with murder mysteries, specifically like she's obsessed with like true crime, and she goes to the school where you can apply if you're very good at one specific topic, if you have a very strong special interest. And Stevie's special interest being true crime, and this school being the site of a true crime story where a little kid disappeared, never to be seen again, she kind of is obsessed with joining this school. So she goes and joins this school to try to solve the mystery of what happened to this little girl, like in the early 1920s, and this is kind of going on in the 2010s or 20s. So yeah, it's been a long time, and since the mystery hasn't been resolved, it's very much a cold case, and she spends 4 books trying to resolve it. What I really love about this book is the sense of like they're in the mountains. It's always fall because it follows like the school year, so it starts in September, ends in like May. So you get like a very like fall vibes all throughout. You have a found family, you're solving a mystery. It is high stakes, but still feels very cozy because, again, it's YA, so you know that people will normally be fine. So yeah, I absolutely love the Truly Devious series. I cannot recommend it enough. There's 4 books, and now there's coming out with like 2 more books. So yeah, you have plenty to read all throughout the fall season. So the next book that I want to recommend is a book that I don't own. It's a Twyford Code. But honestly, anything by Janice. She's an amazing author. I absolutely love her. The thing with her books is that they're fair mysteries that you should be able to resolve if you are like reading with enough attention. But they're also like very much mixed media. This one, the Twyford Code, is mostly in voice notes, but her other book has emails, voice notes, and just like text messages. I love mixed media. I think it makes reading so much easier, mostly because we're also used to reading text and emails, so we can just like read them a lot faster. So I absolutely like love this series. I like that it's a true like a mystery that I can actually solve. Most of these characters, you don't really get into the head of the characters just because of how the books are written. If you like literary books, you probably won't like this type of books because it's very much to the point and very direct and very like plot forward, and you are just driven by the mystery and that's it. But honestly, that is exactly the type of book I like. I like a mystery driven book. Kind of like cutting off all that fluff really works for me, and it makes it like super bingeable, and I cannot stop reading these books. The good thing is, like, if you like the first book, the author has a very big backlist, so I've been working my way through the backlist, and I cannot wait to read the rest of her books this season. The next book that I want to recommend is The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. This is a high fantasy book about this boy who's trapped in this library for many, many years, and in a different perspective, you're following this girl who is very much like destitute. Her parents died. She's like lost in the middle of the desert when she wanders into the city and manages to get into this like library program where they train librarians. And in this world, the library is the most important part of a city, is a cornerstone of humanity. And the library is thought to be an infinite library with infinite rooms, and nobody knows how it's organized. So it's the job of the librarians to kind of like figure out how this library works, because it's a magical library. Nobody really knows how to get the information they need. Like, how many rooms is this library? Does it end? Like, what type of information is this? And there's a lot of different fractions of society that are fighting over this library. So you have an external conflict of people trying to get this library and get this power, but you also have the internal conflict of this girl trying to figure out the mysteries of the library, and the boy that's trapped inside of the library trying to get out. And it's so out there. It's incredibly complex. It's one of the most complex books I've read probably in my life. It's one of those books that it'll have you dreaming about it, and it'll have you like, you'll close your eyes and you can picture everything, and it's amazing. They have the second book just came out this year. I haven't had a chance to read it, but there's also 2 books in between that are like short stories about this. I just absolutely love this book. When I read it earlier this year, it's definitely gonna be one of my favorite books of the year. It's a little chunky, but honestly, if you have the time, and because for me, fall means cozy and cozy means libraries, this book just speaks so vividly to me for fall. Okay. So the next book that I want to recommend is the Veronica Speedwell series. I don't own these books, but I really should buy them because I've been crushing them. I've read the first 4 between last year and this year, and they're all following Veronica Speedwell, which she is a butterfly biologist. I forget the actual word for it, but yeah, she basically studies butterflies, and she is living her life being like an independent woman in the Victorian age, which is very difficult for her because she's not married, and she travels around all over the world looking for these butterflies, when one day she discovers that after her aunt passes away, that she is being followed by this man that wants to capture her, and she has no idea why. She has never seen this man before in her life. When she is kind of like gets this other man intervenes and tells her that she needs to go and hide, and in the middle of this man trying to get her to hide, the man dies. So she's trying to discover why this man is following her, why this other man died, and like what's the mystery behind all of this. When she falls into Stoker is the love interest. If you are into slow burn love interest, you'll absolutely love this series, because it's one of those series where you are waiting for them to kiss, and it takes like probably, I don't know how many books it takes for them to kiss, but it's a long time. And even like now, I'm like 5 books in and they've not done the dirty. They're taking their sweet ass time. So if you love a slow burn mystery and a slow burn romance, you'll absolutely love this. And it is kind of one of those things that every book you have their own mysteries, but you have a through line all throughout. So I absolutely loved it. The first book was by far my favorite, just because the mystery was a lot more personal to Veronica, while the other books are more like external mysteries that don't really have anything to do with her. But in this next book that I'm reading is like gonna be about a serial killer, and I absolutely love stories about serial killers. So I cannot wait to keep reading on the series. It's one of those series that I think I don't need to read all of it, but then I get the itch like every month to just read one more. So I think it's perfectly written, very cozy. It has the London atmosphere, it has the Victorian era, it has the slow burn romance. If you're into any of those things, you will absolutely devour this series. Okay, so now let's go into some decor before we move on to my seasonal TBR. So I love a lot of things that are pretty unconventional, mostly because I grew up in another country. I think what I think of fall is a little different with what the US thinks of fall, but let's see how we do. So yeah, for first fall, I do love something that is very American. I do love tiny pumpkins. So if you see this pumpkin in the background, I put little tiny pumpkins everywhere. I love this one too. This one lights up. So yeah, for me, like having little pumpkins everywhere is such a cute way to incorporate fall without like everything like screaming fall. And the good thing about those tiny pumpkins, I got them in a bag from Joann's. It was like yay big. It had like 20 of them in it, and it was like less than $1 each. It was like 50 cents each. So I can put them everywhere, and everything has like a little aspect of fall, and that is so much fun. So another thing that really screams fall to me is very bright colors. So in Hispanic culture right now, we're having El Dia de los Muertos, and we're having a lot of fall festivals that have very colorful kites. I'll put a picture over here of what Guatemala does for their Dia de los Muertos like thing. We call it Fiambre and Dia de los Muertos, which is all very involved with very bright colors. You make kites of bright colors, and the thing is like you fly the kites and to get connected with the spirits in the sky. It's very beautiful, and all that kind of like it's all done in very bright and colorful, but mostly orange and purple like schemes. So I always like having orange and purple for fall. So what I have is like this type of pillows. This one I got from Guatemala when I was down there last year. It has like bright oranges, purples, pinks, blues. I have another one over there. I'll bring it. So this one is all purple. Also all orange. So yeah. So for me, that's a way of being a little bit more subtle about my fall decor. Again, I like decorating for Christmas, but I don't really decorate for any other season. So yeah, I love having like little hints like this that really like make me feel like I'm at home, and it doesn't feel like I'm being slapped by like fall leaves or anything like that. The other thing that I also like that is a little bit more like niche decor is things like this. So this is my poster that I actually have on my floor. I do like decorating, like not hanging posters on the floor and just leaning them against walls. I know that's something that some people really dislike, but I'll show you how it looks down on my TV. It's actually really like nice, and I get to see them. So this one is for fall planting, so it's a little bit different. My little ring light is probably flashing through. So it's something to like decorate for fall, but it's not very traditional, and I really enjoy it because you can keep it all year round and you don't really have to change it, and it's just something that reminds you of what plants to expect for fall and keeping an eye out. And if you're really into gardening, it'll keep you like, oh, like these are the type of bulbs I should plant. So I think it's like really fun and cute and practical, and you can also have it year round if you don't want to change it. So I think it's something that really gives a unique thing to my environment. And again, those are posters that I bought online and I just put them in a frame. I think if you can, they're really generic. You can really find them in all paper stores. They usually have them. They're really nice. And I have one from mushrooms too, but that's not really about fall. Okay, so one of my other favorite things that it's also like fall but also year round is artisanal mugs. So I love like handmade stuff, and I also love mugs that I get from other countries that kind of like evoke like feelings of traveling and everything. So this one, my husband got it for me. It is an artisanal mug, but it also has like very colorful, and again, it's one of those things that I know for a lot of people, they only think of fall and think like burnt orange and gray and brown, but for me, fall is very colorful and like the leaves are changing, so like for me it's more about gold and like purple and brown and orange and pink. So yeah, so these mugs I absolutely love. I also have a little spooky mug, which I also like, which is a little ghost, but I also don't really have coffee in it because it's really heavy. I usually have like put little flowers in it. I'll put a little b-roll of it right here. He's super cute and I really enjoy him too. And the last thing that I want to show you is something that I made last year that I absolutely love. I made this little book sleeve. It says I love books. I think he's super cute. I'm going to put the video tutorial down below too if you want to follow it. It was super easy. It's very like sewing for beginners type of thing because it was super easy. I don't think you need a sewing machine, but that's pretty much the only difficult thing. It has a little like insert lining. It has a little pocket for markers. And I was able to make it super easily. I was able to make it with the I Love Books thing, because I also have an embroidery machine. But if you only want to do it the sleeve itself, it's incredibly easy, and I really recommend you trying to make it because it's something that you'll appreciate it more if you make it. I feel like I have a lot of book sleeves, but now that I made one, I'm like, oh my god, this takes so much time and dedication, and it kind of framed my mind into appreciating how much things take to make and how much love comes into them. So yeah, I love my little book sleeve, and it's one of my prized possessions now. Okay, so now let's do the books that I want to read. So I want to read The XX. This is a book that I'm already kind of reading, but this is about a girl who curses her boyfriend after a breakup when they're teenagers, and then they meet like 9 years later in a small town where she still lives, and he is still cursed. So now they have to work together to undo the curse when neither of them really know how to do it, and they're kind of like rekindling their own old flame while trying to do it. Super fun. It made me laugh out loud several times last night when I was reading the first couple chapters. I think it's going to be a 5 out of 5. I already know it, so I really recommend you pick it up. So another thing that I really think is very evocative of this time is dark academia. I think fall and dark academia go like hand in hand, and the book that I want to read this year that's very dark academia is An Academy of Liars. So this book is about a group of people that get together in order to study persuasion and how to learn how to use their powers, and they have to test it on each other. So things start going crazy after they start like testing it on each other. That's pretty much all I know about this book and all I want to know. I think the setting is going to be really strong and it's going to be very evocative. I love school settings for this time of year, so I'm going to be reading it. I also believe it's the Books and Lala Book Club pick for the month of November, so if you want to pick it up, I absolutely recommend it. The next book that I want to read is The Floating Hotel. This is a cozy science fiction novel. Again, I'm focusing a lot on cozy reads this fall season. This is a murder mystery that happens in a floating hotel that is traveling across space, following multiple perspectives of the guests on the boat trying to solve the mystery. All of them have secrets. One of them did it, and you have to like follow all the perspectives and try to solve who actually did it. I think this book is going to be super interesting. I love having like different sci-fis that are not very conventional and not necessarily like super world building intense and kind of a one-off sci-fi. I think this is a very big problem of a lot of science fiction novels, that you have a very large series, so you have to read like 10 books in order to get the full story. So I'm really looking forward to having like a one-off sci-fi that I can read and be very invested in. So the last book that I want to read this season is One Dark Window. This is like a classic YA story that it's just like one of those books that you have to read at least once if you're going to be on booktube, and it's one of the books that I haven't read yet, so I really want to read it. This book is about a woman who has a monster inside of her that doesn't know how to control, and her world is dying, and she meets this highwayman in the middle of the road that also happens to be the king's nephew, and together they're going to try to cure this world but also kind of fall in love with each other. So it's one of the original romantasy stories, and I think it's kind of important to read the original before you kind of like get really into the genre. So I really love to read this book this year, and it sounds super fun. So yeah, those are the books that I'm going to be reading, and now we can move on to what clothes and accessories I like for fall. Okay, so the last things that I want to talk about before, actually I'm going to talk about some TV shows I like, but some things I like to dress up in the fall. Remember how I was saying that I love how colorful fall can be? That does not extend to my wardrobe. I am very much a basics, like dark, like color palette person when it comes to dressing. I like blues, I like purples, I like blacks, whites, browns, and grays. And kind of like fall is perfect for that. So yeah, so some of my fall favorites. My first is my Doc Marten boots. I've had them for 5-6 years now. It's been a while. I really love them. They're super sturdy, especially when the weather changes and you're kind of like trapped in like soggy weather and you're getting your socks filled with water. These will not let the water into your socks, and I really appreciate them for that. I've gone hiking with them. I've gone like running with them because I've been like running from other stuff. I've been like in every fall leaf pile ever with them. I absolutely love them. Another fall basic that I absolutely love is a quarter zip. For me, I love crew necks and I love sweaters, but I am a bigger chested woman, so I do feel like if I wear like anything that has like a high neckline, I am choking, and I do not enjoy that. So I do have to have like a little bit of a V-neck, and quarter zips are great for that because you really don't have to worry about like zipping them all the way up. You can just throw them over your head. They're absolutely great. This one is a brown one that I have that I just got. I don't even know where I got it from, but it's not expensive. So I love quarter zips. Then remember how I was just saying that I hate things that like struggle my neck? I do hate things except if they're my husband's, because my husband is significantly taller than me. So I do love his crew necks. This one is one of my favorites. We live in Atlanta, so this one has like a little Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola is in Atlanta. So we have a ton of Coca-Cola stuff. Plus he also works there. So yeah, we have a ton of Coca-Cola stuff. So yeah, this one is a little blue one. I love wearing his like coats and things. I think that is like one of the best things about having a husband. So yeah, so I love wearing his stuff, and yeah, this one is super cozy. Followed by something else that is kind of new that I'm absolutely in love with. It's this blue dress that I got for a wedding. I'm gonna put a little clip of me wearing it here. I got it for a wedding, but I've actually already wore it 2 more times since then. And if you know that, it's very unusual for a dress to be that versatile. This is a perfect dress, mostly because it's like very like basic. It's silky, it's long. It hits me like right around my like middle calf, so I can wear it with boots, and I can also wear it like with shoes and heels. It looks stunning on me. I think it's very good for my skin color. And honestly, you can dress it up, you can dress it down. I wore like leather jacket and my Doc Martens. I wore like high heels and my hair up for a wedding. It is absolutely gorgeous. And because it is a longer dress, you can really get like a lot of layers underneath. So you can be very comfortable all throughout the winter season. So I'm definitely going to be wearing this dress for Thanksgiving, and I might even wear it for Christmas. Last but not least is my Levi's. I love a good pair of jeans, and these one has brought me through many seasons. So this one is the 50190s Levi's in, I don't even know what my size is. Let's see. Waist 29, length 30. I've had them for 4 years now. I did have to get them cut because I am very short. So I did get them cut, but I do have a sewing machine, so that was pretty easy. And these are like the perfect boyfriend jeans. They're very wide-legged, but they don't look frumpy. And I think I look good on wide-leg pants, but I do look better in like skinny jeans, but they still look so good on me. I don't want to dress, I'm probably not going to put B-roll on them, but they look very similar. But I destroy clothes. I am not good about keeping my clothes in pristine condition because I do stupid things with them. I'm around food all day, every day. I have a job where I'm cooking all day, so there's things just happens to my clothing. There will be colors, there will be stains, there will be mud, there will be grime. So the fact that I've had the same pair of jeans for many years now, I absolutely recommend you get a pair of Levi's for the winter season, especially because they're very wide legs, so you can wear like if you are in a place that's very cold, you can wear thermal clothing underneath of them. And the last thing that I don't currently have, but I've been thinking about getting, are two things that I want to buy maybe for this season. So I want to get the Birkenstocks little slippers. I'm going to put a picture of the ones I want right here. I have owned Birkenstocks, the same pair of Birkenstocks, since I was 14 years old. When I first started, like when my mom told me I had scoliosis, like she figured, like when we went to the doctor and I had scoliosis, he recommended me getting comfortable shoes because I was on my feet all day. So I got this Birkenstocks, and I've had them for almost over 10 years. And it's the same pair of Birkenstocks. They held up so good. So now I think it's part of for me to get into the fashionable Birkenstocks, because the ones I have are ugly as sin. And now that they're more fashionable Birkenstocks, I really want to get some. So yeah, I want to get them. I love them. I've been thinking about them. I probably will pull the plug really soon. I just have this terrible, maybe it's not a terrible habit, that will ponder a purchase for months until I'm like 100% sure that I actually want it, and then I'll pull the plug. So yeah, those. And then the other thing I want to get is this Coach bag that I've seen. It's gorgeous. It's brown leather. I think brown leather is so versatile. I do think that you can wear black and brown. I don't care. And this one is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to put a picture of it right here. It's the Coach bag. I love bigger bags that are like yay big. Because I feel like big bags that are like yay big, I think they're too much. And then tiny bags that are like this much, I fill them up so quickly. It's stupid. I don't like it. So yeah, so I am in my mid-size leather bag era, and I'm really looking forward to getting that bag for myself. Again, I will probably not get it for a couple of months. No, a couple of weeks. Let's be reasonable, because I ponder purchases forever. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about is my favorite movies and TV shows to rewatch during the fall season. So let's get the obvious out of the way. I'm definitely gonna rewatch Gilmore Girls and Gossip Girl. Something about New York really speaks like it's fall to me, so that's why I love Gossip Girl. And then Gilmore Girls, you know it, it's the favorite cozy TV show. Even though Rory is a horrible person, I don't care, I'm gonna watch it. And if you're wondering who I like, I am team Jess. So I know a lot of people love Logan. A lot of people love Dean. I think Jess was like brooding and lovely, and he is the one that I find to be the most attractive. Dean kind of became super clingy at the end. If it wasn't first season, Dean is like elite, and then he becomes cringy and annoying, and then Jess is like good all throughout. I feel like the fact that he became more successful is a really good character arc for him. And then Logan was just like, I don't like spoiled rich boys. I know a lot of people love Logan. I just can't stand spoiled rich boys, even though Rory was also a spoiled rich girl. So they were made for each other. Still can't stand the guy. So yeah, I am Team Jess. Then other movies that I absolutely love watching this year is Coco. Coco, it's about a Pixar movie that's about like Dia de los Muertos, which is a very important holiday in Mexican culture. In Guatemala, we do have something very similar, not exactly the same. We kind of celebrate Fiambre, which is our Thanksgiving, the day after Halloween. And we have a day off where we all get together and celebrate the people that passed away. Very similar to Dia de los Muertos, a little different traditional things that change. But my family always gets together, and it's one of my favorite memories. So yeah, I love the movie Coco. I think it captured like the Hispanic culture so beautifully, and I love rewatching it this time of year, even though it makes me cry like crazy. And then the other thing that I absolutely cannot spend a fall without watching is The Great British Bake Show. The Great British Bake Show is my family's Super Bowl. We make bets, we get together, we just like watch it every Friday as soon as it comes on Netflix. We have we recreate the bakes from the show. We absolutely love it, and me and my husband get together and watch it every Friday. And I don't know, it's so cozy, so adorable. I absolutely love it. And if you have not watched it, you have like 25 seasons to watch, and I'm so jealous. So go and watch it right now. And the last thing are two movies that I think are very generic, but everybody should watch. is the Jane Austen movies. I don't care what version you like, the BBC version, the one with Keira Knightley. Go watch a Jane Austen movie. I think all of them are wonderful. I think most of them are very well made. I love the custom design. I love like the flowery. I love the glancing at each other from across the room. It feels very romantic, very swoony, and perfect for this time of year. I think most Jane Austen movies kind of get that like perfect thing between being like cozy and still having a lot of drama. And I think you should definitely watch at least one this time of year. And then the last thing is the movie Knives Out. Again, this is a murder mystery, but a guy that dies and leaves his inheritance to a maid, and now they have to figure out why, and people start dying. It's like a whole thing. It is an amazing movie. I really like fast-paced murder mysteries, and this one is great. And the other one that they have, I don't remember the name of it, but it's also great. All murder mysteries movies, I give an A+ this time of year. Also, if you want to read an Agatha Christie, go read an Agatha Christie. That is also a great choice for this time of year. So yeah, those are all the things that I love for fall. I really, really want to spend a lot of time reading and being cozy and watching the best shows this year. So please comment down below your favorite fall read, or put a little like maple leaf in the comments down below if you got to this part of the video. I love you guys, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye!